Again on the restart, 2.5 seconds between Craig Gose and Steve Arpin.
Now you talked about momentum. Craig Gose coming here after his first win last week, gets the pole. His crew's on it. They're making pit stops a couple seconds faster than the other teams, and then they throw the green. He just keeps driving away. This battle for second, though, continues to wage.
He's got a great run this time. Mikey Kyle's going to make the pass on Steve Arpin, and you see at the opposite end of the spectrum, the 09 of Grant Enfinger has the hood up on the 09.
Yeah, electrical problem with the 09, Jim, it looks like.
Ignition, guys. I don't know exactly what it is, but the car is losing power, and Enfinger had such confidence coming into this. He thought this car would be a car to contend with. He's finished third, fourth, fifth, no worse than fifth when he's running on these types of racetracks on his limited schedule. So unfortunately for Enfinger, very confident, very high before the race. So he's slowly putting the hood back down on that Ford.
Well, Jim, that confidence was well-founded. He was fast. He had driven from 17th up to the top 5. He looked like one of the cars that could indeed contend with Craig Gose, so that's a shame. Runs a limited schedule, just tries to scrape together enough funds to get to come racing, and when he comes, Phil, he's ready.
Yeah, you're right. He got up to the 5th position, started back in the 17th position, and in just about 30 laps made his way up into the top 5.
There's 18 cars on the lead lap. That's because we have had a very strong performance out of the 81 of Craig Gose. Right now he has 2.6 seconds over second place Mikey Kyle, Steve Arpin, Clay Rogers, and Patrick Sheltra rounding out our top 5 here in Michigan.
Down on that end of the racetrack in 1 and 2, when we talk, there's Rob. Is that Rob Brent?
Rob Brent with a little left front fender damage. It's starting to peel off on the inside.
He's running in the 7th position. Looks like part of his fender, part of the side, the rear, the front fender is actually coming off. I'm sure the ARCA officials are watching our pictures right now to see if that looks like that could potentially fly off there.
I think it's okay. I don't think it'll fly off. And I just love the way this cat races. We talked about him coming from 33rd to 6th at Pocono last week. How about 19th to the top 10 already here at Michigan? So not only is he a fast racer, he also can make some good moves in traffic. Going to make his NASCAR Nationwide Series debut next week at Road America.
Yeah, that's his background. Road racing is his background. Had a great run earlier this year at that rain-soaked West Palm Beach, Florida.
Take a look at this. Can you see his feet inside here? You can see into the cockpit of that race car.
You can definitely see inside the cockpit. We talk about crush panels and knocking crush panels out. That's what that is. That's actually bent forward. Is his crush panel. Sometimes when guys get carbon monoxide poisoning, it's because of the crush panels being knocked out. And obviously right now with Rob, that crush panel is not doing a whole lot, Wendy.
Yeah, not a whole lot of talk by Rob Brent about that fender. I think they're trying to keep that piece of information away from him, Rocky Ryan, his spotter. Now keep in mind, Rob Brent comes into this race, like you said, he started 19th, has a very fast race car, but it has been loose for Rob Brent. They tightened him up on that last stop with air pressure adjustment. And they also think the track will continue to tighten up as it gets cooler. They were reminding him, as crew chief Dave Lanier said, besides the top 3 cars, you are one of the fastest on the racetrack, and that, of course, gives the driver a lot of confidence. Jim?
Just a quick update on Grant Enfinger, the 09 car we talked about. It was a battery. The alternator was fine. They had 12 volts. They changed the battery in that race car, so for the pride and the experience, he's going to go back out on the racetrack. And because of the funding through Roush Yates Performance Group, he's going to be able to race again. We may see him as soon as Iowa. So Enfinger, again, a contender. What this kid could do with the full funding, I don't know, but he's very strong on the racetrack. And again, funding through Roush Yates Performance Parts has him on the racetrack at Iowa. He was going to maybe be done after this race.
Watch these two off turn 4. Sheltra's trying all he can to hold it off of Arpin, but it just, momentum wanted to carry him up there. Steve didn't take it all the way out to the outside wall. I'm sure Patrick didn't count on that, and they almost made contact.
If a caution were to come out, but now who is going to start gambling and deciding to come down to pit road? And at what time do they feel like they're losing ground to our leader, Craig Gose?
You can see the slow car there. James Harvey Hilton is coasting on the apron. It looks like he'll make it in. But Rick, I think with that right front concern, these guys might indeed pit a little bit early, but it's a catch-22. If you pit a little bit early, then somebody does blow a right front tire, then all of a sudden you're a lap down and having in jeopardy of having a good finish.
09 of Grant Enfinger has made his way into the garage area, so his day is going to be short.
Almost 4 seconds between Craig Gose out in front and Mikey Kyle. Clay Rogers, Nelson Piquet Jr., and Patrick Sheltra are your top 5. There's Mama Venerini on top of the pit box taking notes. We'll be back with more here on Speed.
You can see that right front fender now. It's not sticking out as far as it was. If he has a tight situation before, it's probably going to get even tighter now.
Yeah, you can see the tire as we look. See, you can see the tire. We couldn't see that earlier. That means that fender has bent in, and these teams rely heavily on those front fenders, that front end, to get these cars to turn in these big old long corners at MIS. So that certainly won't help him any. It'll be interesting to see if if Clayton Rogers can drive back up to Nelson Piquet Jr. and if Piquet can get up to Mikey Kyle.
Nelson Piquet is running in the 3rd spot, and actually the 42 of Clay Rogers has slowed quite a bit down from the pace.
Might have felt something with the tire, you think?
I'm not sure.
So right now Clay Rogers slower on the racetrack.
He's definitely off the pace.
Looks like maybe it's a flat. I don't know. He's
going to go by another slower car, but he's staying on the racetrack.
He's not going to make the hard left turn onto pit road right now. Rob Brent and Patrick Sheltra battling it out for the 5th spot. Rob Brent was able to nose just in front of that 60. And again, Rob Brent has a little bit of damage to the left front of that race car, but still able to be competitive here in the top 5.
Yeah, he needs a little bit of a caution flag to maybe straighten that out a little bit. I don't think they can afford to take the time if he has to make a green flag pit stop to affect those repairs. Do you, Michael?
I don't believe so. I like the way he did down in turn 1 and 2. He just kind of explained to Patrick Sheltra he's going to need to move him over a little bit. He said, I saw you earlier, Patrick, do that. I'm going to need the same courtesy here. Rob has driven that car from the 19th starting spot all the way up into the top 5, running in 4th there. And look at the pace he's got. He's driving straight away from Patrick Sheltra, our points leader.
Again, Craig Gose is out in front. 3.7 seconds is the difference between he and Mikey Kyle. Those two have run 1-2 pretty much the entire race. At the very drop of the green flag, it was the 60 of Patrick Sheltra that got by Mikey Kyle after spinning his tires. But from that point forward, it's been Craig Gose in front of Mikey Kyle. Almost a mirror image of what we saw last week at Pocono, where Mikey Kyle dominated and Craig Gose was the only one close.
Exactly, and that's what Mikey Kyle's hoping for here.
Wendy.
Well, you guys notice Clay Rogers slow on the racetrack. He does have clutch issues. I just talked to the Cruce Lake Rain Bridge, so they know they're not going to last very long out there. More than likely, Clay Rogers will be on pit road the next time around. Unfortunate ending for Clay Rogers because we know he had a very fast race car for a guy that's not a regular contender in the ARCA series.
Yeah, he was extremely fast. Good to see him running up the front of the field, but things laid down on him.
Remember, we reported that he had clutch problems in practice, and he only got just a handful of laps, and unfortunately, they bit him here in this race, too.
There's your race leader, the 81 of Craig Gose. He has led every lap. We've completed 68, and he's been out front for all 68. Only 32 laps remain from Michigan. Stay with us.